You're listening to a Nerds podcast. All things nerds, music, horror movies, pro wrestling, video games, anything nerds would like.
Once again, back with a Nerds podcast. Today I have an awesome dude with me, Philip Archer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Thank you. This is going to be really fun. I really appreciate it because I've got lucky enough to interview a lot of pro wrestlers over the last, 8 months. And first on the back, this is still kind of new to me. Even though I've been doing it for 8 months, it's still new. So, I'm getting better over time, but, I'm still green in this podcast scene or whatnot, but it's not a bad thing. But,
you're good, man. This is my first, over-the-phone interview, so this is all new to me, man.
Awesome. I don't feel bad. It's cool. Now, I'm assuming you're a fan of pro wrestling as a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, as a kid, I'm gonna say it like this. When you started watching wrestling, when it mattered, when it stuck with you, who did you enjoy watching on the screen?
Some of my main influencers, man, and even you can kind of see it in my in-ring style, was a lot of Eddie Guerrero, Chris Jericho. But I also watched a lot of TNA when TNA was around there.
Yeah.
I'm a big Samoa Joe fan.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Daniels. Those were kind of the guys that even Bam Bam Bigelow. I know it's the era before, but just I love it. Enjoy watching these guys.
Okay, that's cool. Now, as had any storyline as when you could retain information, when you can see something, go, I appreciate it. Has any storyline as a young age when you start watching wrestling resonated for you?
The biggest one that kind of caught my attention was Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio.
Mm-hmm.
When they started the whole feud, and then that finally led to the famous ladder match for Dominic.
Yeah.
That one, and then just the whole Chris Jericho HBK run.
Yeah.
That was another big one that I retained.
That's pretty cool though. Isn't it funny how Dominic is in pro wrestling now alongside his dad?
Man.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's real. Make you feel old.
Yeah, I know. Cause I remember he was 10 or something like that. He was a little boy. Now he's a grown man doing hot spots and stuff.
Right.
I still can't get over that. It's just funny looking. Now, I'm assuming in school, were you big in sports? If you did, I'm gonna say did you do any sports in school?
I really wasn't super big into any sports when I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Throughout high school and everything, I was always big into martial arts.
Okay.
So I've been doing martial arts since I was about 4 years old, and so that was kind of my sport for the most part.
Yeah. What style did you practice?
I did just normal karate, which was a mixture of taekwondo, a little bit of judo, and then when I got older, I started dabbling into jiu-jitsu.
That's cool.
The MMA style of stuff.
Yeah. I'm assuming that did you ever get a chance to incorporate any of that in your style? Was that any effective in your martial arts abilities?
Oh, absolutely, man. I throw a lot of strike heavy.
Mm-hmm.
While I'm in the ring, as well as submissions, some judo throws.
Yeah, I would assume now people know what grappling is. It looks even cooler now that people actually know what submission hold is supposed to look like and whatnot. I always figured that would be effective and not.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. It's definitely nice knowing, fans knowing what's going on compared to not.
Yeah, definitely. Now I kind of skipped about it's not a big deal, but when you get a chance to basically practice or train. What was the name of the school that trained you when you got started?
I trained under the Iron City Wrestling Academy,
Mm-hmm.
which is in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Carolina. That's the school name. The company that owns it is going to be IWC, or International Wrestling Cartel. They trained Elias, DJZ, or Jaquan Wild. Came from that school, as well as Britt Baker as well.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's nice. Nice crowd there.
And then Wardlow as well.
Okay, that's cool. Now, I'm curious, like, when you first get on the mat and they asked you to do your first bump, how did that feel?
Honestly, man, my experience wasn't as bad.
Okay.
Having like the martial arts background.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I was kind of used to taking, the so-called bumps for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's definitely still, like a whole shell shock for the most part of, just taking a bump, and most people think it's a trampoline, but
exactly.
It hurts.
Yeah, I believe you. Now, as the regiment, what do they have you doing? What kind of drills and stuff have you doing when you start training in the school?
Honestly, man, it varies from school to school. My school, we did a lot of, cardio-heavy drills, a ton of squats, a ton of push-ups, stuff like that, just to get, in the physical condition. And then, once we got all that down, then we started dabbling into, breaking down the actual art of wrestling.
Okay. Now, this may not mean anything to you, but like I'm assuming back in the day, because I don't know when you first started. Back in the day, they used to basically like a version of tough love. They want to see who had what it takes to sustain it. So they kind of physically broke them down to see if they can handle it. Did you have to experience anything like that?
I mean, I started training around like 2016. So by then, the whole, I don't want to say order, because that sounds like an insult, but
yeah, I know.
the idea of, breaking them down, seeing if, you could do it, wasn't as bad as how it used to be.
Gotcha.
I mean, definitely in these cardio drills, man, like, I had to do some pretty intense cardio to where it was like, that kind of showed them if I wanted it or not.
Yeah. That's cool. It has, this is silly, and it's kind of a silly question, but did you ever see anyone get so, worn down that actually threw up? Has anyone, they get them so, they ever happen? Not you, but have you ever seen it happen?
The one gentleman at a tryout did. He was a little bit hesitant gentleman. Definitely gave it his all.
Okay.
But got done with the cardio and ran outside and, threw up a little bit. But after that, man, he hopped right back in there and continued to do the tryout, so.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of figured, because you remember, you say, it's not the Attitude Era. It was around the time that, I forget he was like the guy who fought, who got into the ring with Kurt Angle, and it some mishap. I mean, Kurt Angle showed up in the ring, and Daniel Peter. Do you remember Daniel Peter? Remember that story?
Yeah.
And I always think, because you probably have listened to a lot of the wrestling podcasts and whatnot, so you probably have some kind of idea of a story, because they used to say they would feed them basically chicken Alfredo and milk and make them do sprints back and forth up and down like the ramp or something like that. I'm like, what is the point of that? Does it seem to throw up or something?
Sounds horrible, man.
Like, I wouldn't eat chicken Alfredo with milk by itself regardless, but I'm sure not going to eat chicken Alfredo and run with it. Oh, that sounds awful.
Yeah, that sounds horrible, man.
Yeah, but as I've been doing interviews, and I was asked this question, and I know a lot of times it doesn't necessarily register everyone, but I figure if you're a wrestling fan, you at least heard the story, so it was I figure I just throw it out there, because if you start in 2016, I'm hoping people were less, I want to say it's less dicks at the time. They want to see you succeed. They want to see if you have it takes, but they're not going to try to hurt you. So it's kind of cool to hear that they work you, but they're not trying to kill you.
Yeah, like I personally knew my trainer since I was 13 years old. So he knew that I wanted it since I was 13.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, not that he went easy on me by any means, but
Yeah.
he just knew I was there for the long haul.
Okay, that's cool. Now, like when you started, like I mean, as the training went and whatnot, did they kind of like explain what selling and what kind of like feeding all kind of stuff? Did they explain? And if like how did they explain it to you in their terms?
Absolutely, man. I mean, breaking down the question, selling, of course, was a big is a big thing. And they kind of just broke it down as like, hey, it's a real fight.
Mm-hmm.
Type deal. So, just sell it as if, you were in a real fight, which, resonated very easy with me from the martial arts background.
Yeah. I like the fact too, and like I interviewed someone else, and I think it's different for other people because I've interviewed people and they told me that the wrestling came in handy. But then I also interviewed a young lady who told me that sometimes the martial arts made it hard where she didn't know how to do working punches. Her punches became a little more stiff than she would like to be, and it's like
definitely that martial arts background definitely does kind of counteract some of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as far as selling, that was a hard thing for me just with that MMA background, but as far as like, a solid working punch or, like a strike, anything like that, was very easy for me, just because the martial arts I did it was on tap, but it wasn't, I did a lot of tournaments that were not.
Okay.
So you had to almost pull your punches.
Was it more a point scale thing? It wasn't so much like was it something like that?
Yeah, so like a couple of the tournaments I did were like more point oriented.
Yeah.
Like kind of like literally like if you watch the Karate Kid, man. Like
Yeah, I got
That's
you.
literally how the tournaments went.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense because even jiu-jitsu, there's ones where they go on points and not necessarily submission because some have submission and some will go on points because I competed once and I didn't understand the scale. I didn't really know what was going on because I never competed. So I didn't even know what they were saying. But it is what it is. It's not a big deal. But like
Yeah.
But like
one thing I didn't do any tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, just really one of my cup of tea that I didn't really understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so different compared to real life if stuff breaks down.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's hard to to not react because even you've heard like you probably know a story about even Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was like, other than Ronda Rousey or maybe Brock Lesnar. Well, I'll say Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle. They're the two, who basically handled like a duck to water. They were like the most, easy to basically establish themselves, because they were natural athletes. But he didn't understand the losing process because he said, "I'm a winner and I need to win all my matches." Like, no, this is the storyline. But he couldn't figure it out. So I understand though.
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand that, man. Definitely something, transitioning wise would easily be hard to understand.
Yeah, because now, as when you basically started your, I guess, the promotion you're in now, or your first promotion, like how many promotions have you been in so far?
Off the top of my head, man, I'd probably give a rough estimate. Say probably around 10-ish.
Okay.
So far with everything going on, I roughed it all the way from here in Pittsburgh, north all the way up to Jersey.
Okay.
South to West Virginia, and then west as far as Chicago.
Yeah, that's cool.
Thus far.
That's cool.
So,
Yeah. So like when you first, after you got out of school and now you can compete. You can always probably compete regardless because you're learning as you go. You're technically competing in the ring, but when you first to get to your first gig or whatever you want to call it, and you get onto the mat, and it could be like I don't know how many people when you first started, but how did it feel to basically get in the ring and basically do it in front of a crowd?
oh man, it's one of those like emotions that's just so hard to transpire into words. It's kind of like if you were playing at the Super Bowl running on the tunnel, like you get the butterflies, you get super nervous as well as super excited, ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just one of those surreal moments that just like takes your breath away.
That's all right. I like that. That's pretty cool. I forgot to ask you about in the school part. Did they teach you promo class? And if they did, what did that consist of? If they did, I don't know if they would do that or not.
Yeah, they did. Just simple exercises as hey, what's your character? Like, who are you? Really honing in on, who you are to make the promos a lot easier. And then early starting off, we just pulled names out of a hat and was like, hey, shoot a minute promo as Austin Powers, for example, or Macho Man, or stuff like that to kind of get you out of your comfort zone and just get used to talking into, either a phone camera or somebody that has a camera on you.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. As like a baby, like I don't know if you consider yourself more of a baby face or heel. I'll just put it this way: what would you prefer? What do you like more, being a baby face or heel? I'm gonna say it that way.
Honestly, man, I normally work as a baby face.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely do prefer it just because outside of everything, I'm normally a nice guy, so it's kind of super easy to, compare, hey, up with Philip Archer type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, man, I like working both. I do like working his heel just because it gets me out of my comfort zone.
Cool.
Gives me a lot of options to try different things.
Yeah. Okay. Is it true that mainly the heel leads the match, or does it matter?
I mean, they set the pace for stuff. But I mean, you do kind of work together.
Okay.
As far as everything going on.
Okay, that's cool. Do you have yours planned out? Your matches planned on the back, or how do you go about doing like a regular day to day when you get in the ring with somebody? Do you let them know ahead of time, or do you kind of run through it? Do you have confidence to run through it with them in the ring?
Honestly, man, it depends on who I'm working with. Some of the people that graduated in my training, on the fly, we can go out there and do a match and call everything out there. A lot of the newer guys that I've been working with, I kind of like breaking down and, walking through everything with them. Mm-hmm. This way they get that chance to learn as well as, hey, here's everything we're doing. This way it's simplified.
That's cool. Now, I'm trying to think. Do you, if you have one, it doesn't matter because there's no wrong answer. Do you have a philosophy in wrestling? If you don't, it doesn't matter. Either way, I'm just curious.
Philosophy as far as what, man? If you can kind of elaborate on that for me a little bit.
It's like in the ring, I would say, like some people would say how they carry themselves in the ring, or how they construct their character and make control the crowd. I mean, it can mean anything, because some people say they'll say something like, you always keep yourself humble or something like that, or something like that. I don't think it's like a specific answer because it always changes.
Honestly, man, I mean, I just go out there and I just, I try to be, Philip Archer as much as I can.
Yeah.
As far as character-wise, very similar to like Ring of Honor, like the honor code, like the respect code.
Yeah.
But that's really it, man. I kind of just go out there and try to put the best show as I can on for the paying customers, the fans.
That's cool. That's all right. Hey, thank you again. I got like 2 more questions after that. I just want to tell you first before I ask these 2 questions, I am very grateful for doing this, and I will never stop saying I'm grateful because I'm always grateful when anyone who's nice enough to take time out of their day and let them ask them questions of any kind, because I want to know, because what you do is very important. I think it's amazing. I think it's amazing that the fact that there's pro wrestlers out there that are just holding their craft, and it's nice enough to let me interview them. I want to let them know that I'm very grateful. But first and foremost, I know I said it before. I'm gonna never stop saying it. I'm very grateful for letting me do this.
Oh yeah, no problem, man. I mean, I thank you very, very much for having me on your podcast.
Cool.
And honestly, man, since you told me you were just getting into interviews, and like I said, this is like my first over the phone type deal.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, man, you're just as important as
Thanks,
wrestlers. Like you're getting us out there. It sounds like with your podcast, like you're promoting shows. Like you're just as important. And
thanks,
I mean, man, you being a fan of everything, you're the one that reached out to me, man. You know what I mean? So like,
thanks, man. I
for you
appreciate
to
it.
even take time out of your busy schedule to want to interview me, it means a lot coming from my end. You know what I mean?
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Now, first question I'm going to ask you, and I like asking, this is a fun question. It's like a fantasy question. The first one is like, let's say like a stable. You have 4 people in your stable. You're the ringleader. You'll be the 5th person. And your 4 people, you can name anyone. I don't have to know who they are. They could be in your promotion, but you got to tell me why you would pick them. But living or dead, anybody, you're the ringleader, whatever, like 4 other people. Who would you like to have in your stable of basically a Survivor Series stable kind of like scenario?
Whew. That's a tough one then. I mean, I am in a stable as far as character-wise now.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Jameson, Stevie LaBelle, and Jason Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
And we call ourselves the 4 Horsemen. It's kind of like like our take on the 4 Horsemen.
Yeah.
Honestly, man, I did those 3 guys, and Eddie or Joe or even Bam Bam, just somebody of that charisma to kind of
Okay.
I don't want to say put us under their wing, but kind of help us out as well as just teaching us, us having that tutelage of learning from them.
Yeah.
Type deal.
Okay, that's cool. I like that. That's a good one. I like that. Now the second question is going to be like a WrestleMania moment, the WrestleMania match for the championship, and you can pick whoever you want, live or dead. It doesn't matter who it is. Just if it's someone in your camp, you got to tell me why you would pick them. But it could be living or dead. It doesn't matter who it is. Someone recent, doesn't matter.
Honestly, man, I think it would have to be one of the 3, either Samoa Joe, Chris Jericho, or Kevin Steen.
That's cool.
Or Kevin Owens.
Yeah, I got you. That's all right though. I think I would like to see you. I would like to see you wrestle. I think you would probably match more with Kevin Owens or Samoa Joe. I think that'd be fun because they're more. I'm not saying that Chris Jericho can't be a heel. He's funny, but it'll have to be the Chris Jericho from the old one, from like Chris Jericho, who would be the one that fought Shawn Michaels. It had to be the evil version of Chris Jericho, not the silly one. Nothing against him, but if I had to pick between the two, I think it would be more awesome for you. You don't got to agree with me, but I'm saying I would say either Kevin Owens in his most heelish version, or Samoa Joe in his most gangster version of him. I think that's my own opinion. I'm not saying you got to agree with me. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I like I said, those three, gentlemen that I said, I think I'd be able to, go in there and hopefully, tear the roof off with them. And
yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Hey man, thank you again, and hopefully like down the line when you're not busy and like I'll hit you up, and I also just want to talk wrestling. It don't have to be any specific. If you have something going on, I would definitely like to talk about that, but it doesn't have to be necessarily anything in particular. Just want to just talk about your your opinion in wrestling, because you do it, so your opinion matters very much to me, and I'd like to hear like your opinion on different promotions or whatever. It doesn't matter. Just make conversation. That's all.
yeah, absolutely, man. My phone's always open. Right now, I do go to school.
Cool.
So, if I don't get back right to you, normally this time of year, like final stuff like that, I'll definitely, try to get back to you within like a week period.
That's cool.
For the most part. But yeah, my phone's always open, man.
That's cool, man. Well, I hope you have the good rest of your day and the rest of the week. Thank you again, man. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, man. You too, man. I really appreciate you having me on.
All right, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Man, I'll see you later, man.
All right.
All right, bye. That was pretty awesome, their podcast I just did. I'm really proud of this one. I'm going to make sure I have his name right. Philip Archer. He is an awesome talented beyond talent. It was really cool to let me in and pick his brain and just basically talk to him for the amount of time he was nice enough to let me interview him. So hopefully down the line I'll be able to interview him again. And basically today I'm just going to do zombie sound effects.